All right, y'all. Welcome to Run the Damn Ball. This is your host, Daniel Magnuson. We talk college football, Nebraska football, which, for the first time in 8 long years, is go. We're going bowling. We're going bowling. We might as well go to the bowling alley right now because we're going. We got a 6 win yesterday. Nebraska beat Wisconsin 44-25. From where, I don't know where that came from. Credit Dana Holgerson, our new OC, hopefully for years to come, because that was awesome. I don't have any notes today. It's the day after the game. I have no notes. I'm pretty much going to talk about Nebraska winning yesterday for a little bit. We'll talk about yesterday was absolute chaos. Absolute chaos underwent in college football yesterday, across the country. Um, yeah, we're gonna get into it. I watched a lot of football yesterday. In fact, um I'm usually working SMU games, so I don't even have that much time to watch unless it's like that little period of the day I have off. But yeah, no, straight up, SMU played 11 a.m. That's my number two team that I root for. Watched that whole game. I even played EA college football yesterday morning, which is amazing. I had taken a lot of time away from playing that. Just finally made a comeback. Um, then Nebraska plays at 2:30, so it was like EA college football, SMU football, Nebraska football, back to back to back. Incredible. Um, win. And there were times yesterday in the Nebraska game I had to straight up like pause the game because I was watching on my computer. I had Kansas Colorado on the TV just because that's a more bigger game. Plus better announcers than Jake Butt and whoever else that other guy was for Nebraska. But I really had to come after Jake Butt out here. That's wild. No. So straight up, had to pause my laptop and be like, wait, did we just run for 15 yards? We're gonna have to run that back. Did we just get a stop again on 4th and 1 for like the 10th time this season? It feels like because we've been doing that with those big boys on our D line. I'm gonna have to rewind because I'm not sure if I did we really just see this. I had to do that multiple times yesterday. Did we really just force a fumble and steal points at the end of the game? Did he really just kick that field goal like 20 yards to the left and miss the opposing team? Yeah, no, that was wild. That was absolutely wild. Nebraska, 44 points, the most of the season. They could have honestly dropped like 55 if they, finished some of their drives and caught some of their passes. But hey, we're not complaining because a win's a win, and we're going bowling. Nebraska is going to a bowl. I'll give my bowl predictions slash hopes and dreams of matchups later because it's been 8 years since we've been able to enjoy that. I mean, I don't even know what a bowl game is, honestly, anymore. But then on top of that, so yeah, Nebraska is a great game. I can get into the things that happened during the game. If you're a Nebraska fan, you probably watched it. You can watch the highlights. I haven't even watched the highlights since the game happened, so I forgot a lot of things that probably happened anyway. I will say running for like a 20-yard touchdown and then one of our O linemen spiking the ball and getting a penalty is awesome. I hope that happens again because that's a whole vibe. And I'm just yapping right now. Nebraska wins. We're so happy. Two things were put at rest with Nebraska winning yesterday. I think this is worth saying. One, Matt Rule's hot. Pause. Pause. Hold on. Matt Rule's hot seat that he was sitting on because it was getting a little bit warm. It was getting a little bit warm for Matt Rule there. So we're 6-5 now. We're going to a bowl, and so Matt Rule is off the hook because if we had, my friend Colby texted me yesterday. He said we're either going 2-0 or 0-2 in these last two games. All right, which I'm a standby. That was a true statement, and you know because the thing is, if Nebraska had lost yesterday, and then because they all lost yesterday, we probably not beating Iowa. I mean, the vibes would have been atrocious. Probably would have lost the next game, and then the offseason is just like, first of all, you can say goodbye to renovating South Stadium. if we lose 2 games in a row and go 5-7, which is not happening, by the way. And then I'm talking about us going 5-7. The stadium thing's probably going to happen. And then at the same time, like Matt Rule is just going to be sitting there looking like, I don't even know. Like it would have been so awkward. Just be like, damn, okay, we went 5-7 again. And it just would have been bad. The energy going forward that we made a bowl is amazing. I'm so happy it happened. Yes, I'm happy the students stormed the field too. Come on. Okay. Like these kids haven't seen a bowl game since they were like 10. Straight up. Or yeah, something like that. I don't even know how old the college kids are now, but the young, yeah, if they're freshmen to be like 10 years old, and they probably didn't even watch football back then. But gonna go ahead. I could get into things statistically. I just want to give a shout out to Emmett Johnson. I think he had almost 200 total yards. He had like 100, a little over 100 rushing and maybe 80 or 90 receiving. Yeah, that was sick. I mean, kind of like Devin Neal just owns the entire Colorado football team. He almost had 300 on them. He was 20 yards away from having just as many yards as the Colorado team. So, we'll get into Colorado, Kansas in a second. But yeah, that was awesome. Our DBs did get exposed a little bit against Wisconsin. We only have one feasible corner in Sierra Wright. Tommy Hill's out for the year probably. And the other corners we have are either like 5'8" or they just can't lock up man. So it's fine. Win's a win. But beat Wisconsin for the first time since 2012. I get into it more. You've probably heard it all. So that's Nebraska. We got a game on Friday against Iowa. I'm gonna go ahead and say we're gonna win that game because Iowa sucks. They don't actually suck, but it's a rivalry, a bit of a rivalry, and they are kind of annoying. They don't really do anything. They're just kind of sitting over in Iowa, and all they do is play defense. So. And Caleb Johnson's good. That's one guy to worry about. But I'll predict us to win in my prediction video next week. Next week. Games on Black Friday. So looking forward to that. And then on top of what else? Other Nebraska stuff should we talk about before we jump into college football? Usually I have a script that I read off of, like just little notes I have, and I am just riffing right now. So 6-5, we have a winning record going into Black Friday. Weights lifted, we're chilling. Okay, the whole bowl thing, the whole bowl curse is over. I tweeted after the game. I was tweeting so much crap after the game. It was insane. I was tweeting because my favorite place to go bowling in Lincoln when I lived there was Sun Valley Lanes. So I tweeted, I was like, "So we go to Sun Valley Lanes or what?" Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so that's probably everything Nebraska related. It was just an overall win. There's a lot you could get into, but it's at that point, it's just like I'd be talking forever, and you guys probably already listened to the main Nebraska people anyway. I'm just a dude with his laptop here. But talk about other college football stuff going on. I'm gonna get to the scores that we had. And then after I talk about the other games from yesterday, which was wild, we'll go ahead and talk about bowl stuff. Because we can actually talk about bowl stuff for the first time since I was 17 years old. That's insane. Okay, so first things first, some of the games yesterday that are noteworthy. I took a break from watching football after Nebraska because I had way too much screen time at that point. I went to play basketball for a couple hours with some people, and that was hella fun. So got home after that, saw that Oklahoma beat Alabama. We'll start there, actually. Oklahoma beat Alabama 24-3. Let's talk about the ACC. The SEC. Okay. Oklahoma beats Alabama. Number 7 Alabama, that is. 24-3. Look, I was born in 1999, and I can say in confidence that this is probably the worst Oklahoma team I've seen in my lifetime. The worst one in my lifetime. And they just beat the worst Oklahoma team in 25 years, that is. Just beat number 7 Bama on the Palace on the Plains, 24-3. Okay, Bama, you got to be out at the playoff at this point. Okay, what the hell is even that? And it shows all you got to do is just, if you're Oklahoma, all you got to do, and anyone playing Alabama going forward is like, look, we got to shut down Jalen, make everyone else beat you. Okay. Now, Ryan Williams was robbed of a touchdown because refs suck in the SEC and probably everywhere in college football. But still, it would have been 24-10. It's still a win for Oklahoma at that point. So hopefully Alabama's bounced from the playoff at that point, because if you lose to Oklahoma 24-3, there's something wrong with your team. So that's that. Other SEC upset, which I almost called last week in my video. Florida beating Ole Miss 24-17. Jackson Dart was throwing picks right and left to close out that game. And yeah, so I don't know if Ole Miss is going to make it now. I don't care they blew out Georgia. I mean, that is rough. They're ranked lower than Bama, too. College Football Playoff Committee, I mean, I don't even know their standards anymore. They got to figure out what the heck they're doing this week, though. What else? SEC, yeah. Auburn beat A&M. I called this upset. I was said trap game, okay? Because finally you're reuniting with Texas next week for the first time since 2011, okay? They're not thinking about Auburn, but Auburn's got talent. They just had a rough start to the season. Auburn upsets them in what was that? 4 OTs? 4 overtimes. 43-41. They stormed the field in Jordan Hare. Auburn's going to win the football game. Yeah. Okay, so that was crazy. I said A&M was going to get checked on my video last week. I said that I didn't predict the other two SECs losing, but I did say BYU was going to lose. I've said they're not that good. They've been not that good the whole year. And then Arizona State beats them 28-23. Wild ending to that game. Not even going to try to explain it, but let's just say the entire student body of Arizona State was on the field at one point in this game before it was over, which is just a hilarious movement of humanity from the field back to the stands and then storm the field a second time. That was a mess, but they handled it as well as they could. What other games? Boise barely beats Wyoming. Now, I just want to say, I know Wyoming's been bad this year, but let's just call it like it is. You don't just stroll into a mountain football atmosphere and just think you're just going to stroll through and just get a win. You don't. It could be Colorado, it could be Wyoming, it could be Colorado State, you name it, okay? Montana beat Washington a couple years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. Now, I know that Washington team probably was not good, but look, you don't just stroll into a game against really anybody anymore. Maybe a couple MAC teams. You don't just stroll in. But Wyoming, I get they were 2-8, but it's really cold. You're in the highest elevation in college football. Ashton Genty's been running all season. The dude's got to be tired, and they escape after a Hail Mary attempt to beat Wyoming 17-13. Look, is this a look bad on their overall Boise State resume? Sure, because Wyoming's not a good football team. But at the same time, it's college football. A win's a win. They're still going to probably they're going to make the playoff if they win out, which they probably will. Also, Colorado State lost last night. So that means UNLV, if they win next weekend, they're in to the Mountain West Championship, which if there's any team in the Mountain West that can beat Boise State, it is UNLV. So that'll be interesting to watch. SMU, my number 2 team, they win 33-7. Could have won by more. But, road game, they handled business pretty much the entire game. Showed why they're the number 1 team in the ACC and probably going to, in my opinion, if they play their best ball, they're going to have a bye in the playoff, but we'll have to see about that. And Kansas, Colorado, look, I said Kansas is going to win a really close one. Now they won by 16, which is not really close. Over 330 yards rushing. They just bullied Colorado straight up. Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, Savion Morrison, former Nebraska running back, was in there too. They pretty much saw what Nebraska did against Kansas, and they said, bet. And they just were more physical. Like, give Colorado credit for turning around this season after the Nebraska game, but Kansas pretty much, and they have a better rushing attack than Nebraska, considering Devin Neal. They said, all right, bet, we're going to do the same thing. Their defense isn't as good as Nebraska, but still, I mean, that was what I saw. They just checked Colorado there in the Chiefs Stadium. That was awesome to see. I actually kind of like Colorado. I root for them in a lot of games, but to see Kansas to see Kansas do that after the rough start they had was really cool. And I hope that they win another game. They got Baylor next week. I hope they beat them. Who else in the top 20? Notre Dame kills Army. I mean, yeah, I don't even know why they're ranking Army in the AP poll 25 today because Army just got killed by a good football team. I guess I don't know. I don't think Army and Navy are worth ranking at all. That's just my opinion. But um, Texas beats Kentucky. I heard Quinn Ewers hurt his ankle, and so he might be out actually, and then Arch Manning would go in. That's kind of a big development, actually. Um, I've also watched basically no highlights unless I watched the game live yesterday. So a lot of these games I haven't even really watched. Like Penn State, Minnesota. I said Minnesota was going to give Penn State everything they could handle, but Penn State was a little too good, which is what happened. It's tough to win at Minnesota in the cold, especially when they can run the ball, but somehow Penn State did it. They had a crazy fake punt that extended the end of that game, and then they won it. But I think that's everything top 25. Iowa State escapes Utah. Illinois beats Rutgers on a walk-off touchdown, basically. There's some other games I could mention, but that's that. I'm just scrolling through all these games here before I bounce. Oregon State beat Washington State. That's crazy, dude. Oregon State got beat 28-0 last week by Air Force. This is why college football is just it's wild. It's absolutely wild what's going on sometimes. And then what else before we USC beat UCLA. I need to watch the highlights of that. I knew it'd be close, and it was. Yeah, so that's the games from yesterday. Incredible day. Diego Pavia did fail to beat LSU, so I was a little bit upset about that. But yeah, that's yesterday. And next weekend's going to be even. I mean, the last weekend of the regular season is always the best. Rivalry on top of rivalry on top of. We got Friday and Saturday back to back. One more if you want. One more could you want? Thursday is a big Saturday for the boys because we're eating tons of food and chilling. Friday, same thing. Saturday, we're watching even more football. It's like the Saturday for the boys is 3 days long this upcoming week. Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and then boom, you got Saturday after, which is just college football everywhere. I don't even watch the NFL, honestly, because college football is so much better. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to what's coming up next week. Nebraska's going bowling. That's where I was going to go next and talk about some of that stuff before we move on and move on with our day. But okay, so if you follow me on Twitter or anything, you've heard me talk before. I am a nostalgic Nebraska fan. No, I'm not living in the past. I know we're not going to replicate this shirt right here. 94, 95, 97, the three natties in 4 years. That will never be done again at Nebraska. I know that. This is before my lifetime anyway. These are the best college football teams, some of the best of all time. 95 is the best Nebraska and the best college football team of all time. So we're never going to replicate that, and that's okay. But at the same time, if we reach like Bo Pelini level or something, maybe even 11 wins at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, that would be awesome. But I'm able to make requests now about some of these bowl games. I love the Big 8, I love the Big 12 because that is I grew up in Big 12 country. North Texas. I'm a North Texas Nebraskan. That's what I am. My parents are Nebraskans that moved to Texas. I'm a North Texas Nebraskan. Okay. So with that being said, I'm a Big 12 fan. I wish that we still played our Big 8, Big 12 traditional opponents every year. Colorado, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma, you name it. So in terms of a bowl game, there's a hierarchy of like who I want next. Well, number one, I want Oklahoma next. I want a bowl game, whether it's Nashville, I don't care where it is. We want Oklahoma, okay? Because Oklahoma said Bama you next yesterday, and now we're saying Oklahoma you next. Because whoever Oklahoma played in 2022, that Nebraska team, that was not us. And we need to run that back. Nebraska versus Oklahoma in a bowl game would be great for the fans. Yeah. So that's my number one request, that we play Oklahoma somehow. Obviously, it comes down to like the bowl executives who like try to put these games together at the end of the year. But Nebraska is going to be a hot commodity because they know they're going to be able to grab like 40 to 45K, potentially like 40K Nebraska fans are going to pull up to whatever bowl they go to. Maybe, yeah, something like that. It'd be crazy. So they're going to want that ticket money. So we're going to be hot commodity. We're not going to end up in the what is it, the Detroit Bowl, the Quick Lane Bowl, that whatever that is. We're not going there. So especially when we beat Iowa next week. And then I'm just like out here calling shots. So first up, we won Oklahoma in a bowl game, especially because they beat Bama yesterday. They got their sixth win, so we're both celebrating. Next up, yesterday was so good. It was so good. There's so many good games. I don't even know what to do. Like, no, after that, Kansas. We want Kansas. Kansas needs one more win to be 6 wins. They have 3 straight ranked wins right now, which is hilarious. Rank Kansas just because, and then we want Kansas in our bowl matchup. We should have played them last year in the guaranteed rate bowl, but we didn't make a bowl. So then UNLV took our spot. Sad, but here we are now. We want Kansas. Whenever I was in college and whatever bar we were at, this happened like 20 times, by the way. And they'd play Mr. Brightside at like Iggy's or wherever you were. Um, and then there'd be like that, like in between part of the song, da 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 da. Okay, and then people would go FCU or not FCU. My bad. We should have said that FKU, FKU. I'm not gonna say the whole thing, but you know what I'm saying. For some reason, the FKU chant had been passed down from Big 12 students, Nebraska students back in the day. It just never went away. So like we kept saying FKU all the time, even though we don't play them in anything. So it would be nice if we just played Kansas for once so that it would actually mean something. And then, so that'd be my second choice. Maybe Kansas State too, because they're good. I see them on Twitter. They always want to pop off at us. Dog, y'all haven't beat us since like 2004 or 2005. Okay. That was so long ago, but that was like 20 years ago. And it's like a 6 or 5 game losing streak you have against Nebraska, including Taylor Martinez owning you guys 48-13 back in the day. So before we left, yeah. So we didn't forget about your sly comments on Twitter, Kansas State. So you're next after, like, these are a hierarchy of who we want to play. After those three, I have a final request. I don't care about anybody else in the Big Eight really that much. Playing them, like Iowa State, maybe that'd be cool. Oklahoma State, we have on the schedule coming up in several years. And then who am I forgetting? Missouri. I would like to play Missouri too, but also would just like to. I don't know. I don't really care about them that much, to be honest. Even though that we have a trophy against them that we still have, thanks to Roy Halou. But the last one, actually, my final bowl request. Now it probably won't happen, but Nebraska, Colorado part 2 this season. And hear me out. I know some Nebraska fans would say, no, we got the win already. We don't want to play them again. Sure. But what's better than beating Colorado once is beating Colorado twice. Let them know the first time was not a fluke. It wasn't just our stadium forcing interceptions on Shadur. It was that we were legitimately better, more physical, and a better team overall. Let them know the second time they were about to run it up on them and actually drop 40 on them too, like we should have the first time. So those are my bowl requests. I'd like for us to play against Big 12 opponents. I guess playing against LSU is one. The Music City Bowl against LSU, I think, was another option, which actually would be really fun because LSU is a historic program. I think the fan bases like clashing would be really fun. They're my favorite SEC fan base just because Louisiana is just a wild place. So I know I've really just been rambling on here for a while, but that's everything. Nebraska's going to a bowl. I have my bowl request for who we could play. I don't want to play like UCF in a bowl. That'd be really boring. I don't even think they're eligible right now. They need one more win. I think playing West Virginia would be fun, actually. That'd be fun. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, we talked about the games yesterday. We talked about Nebraska being bowl eligible. Yesterday's game for Nebraska. Yeah, I think I like this style better where I'm just standing and I'm able to walk around. My brain's a lot more active when I'm able to do that. We got Memorial Stadium in 2009 behind me. Um, it's actually ridiculous how much I like college football and also my teams. And teams, yes, is plural. I do like multiple teams. Nebraska is far and above my number one, though. Um, yeah, it's actually crazy. But what it is like college football and American culture are inseparable. They go together. Trying to explain college football to a European is damn near impossible. I've tried before. They can't fully grasp it. They kind of can, but it's hard for them to fully grasp. The European mind just can't fully comprehend American college football quite the way it is. Now, one last thing, and this is for Nebraska fans watching. For those of you watching, shoot, if you're a fan of another team and you guys have been down bad, this is the thing. It's not about immediate satisfaction as a fan, okay? It's not about that. It's not about getting drunk at the games with your friends, which is fun if you've done that. I don't do that anymore. But it can be fun for people that do that. There's a lot of fans like to do that everywhere in the country. But it's not about that, okay? It's not about showing up when they're only when they're good or when they're, trendy, like Colorado and their prime fans. Yes, love calling them out. It's not about that, okay? What it's about is, and this actually goes to life as well, but what it's about for Nebraska fans and why there's so many real ones out there, damn, really what it's about is the journey, enjoying the journey of being a fan. Sometimes it sucks, but you're gonna look. I say that I've said this for years. We could be 12-0 or 0-12. I'm there. I'm gonna be there. Okay. I don't have a choice. It's just in my soul. Like enjoying the journey of getting there. We enjoyed yesterday so much getting a sixth win because damn it, we haven't had a sixth win since 2016. That was 8 years ago. That was a different world that we lived in back then. It was different. It was way different. Um, yeah. So I think that's all I can say. But yeah, thanks for listening. Keep running the damn ball with Emmett Johnson. I hope Ramir can make a comeback at some point this season. Um, but yeah, this is a better style. Just me just kind of having it out here, being able to stand. Um, I wonder if I can get my dog to come up here before we go. Devaney, come here. Come here, Devaney. All right. Because sometimes she jumps in the podcast when I do them, but I'm not able to show her. Come here, hey, come here, Devaney, come. I'm not able to show her because I'm always just doing it on a desk. Hey, come here, Devaney, come here. You want to say goodbye? Hey, sit. That's a good girl. That's a good doggy. Hey, you want to see yourself over here? Oh, okay. That's Devaney. That's yes, named after Bob Devaney, and I didn't even name her. But we out. Nebraska's going bowling, and we're beating Iowa, I think. And then we get to play Oklahoma maybe in a bowl game. That'd be fun. Okay. We out. Thanks for listening, and God bless.